Hello, I'm Hudson Valley Community College astronomer Richard Monda. Welcome to Eyes on the Sky, an update about current astronomy and space science events. This is Eyes on the Sky for the month of June 2017. June is the month we lose Mars from the evening sky. It is slipping into the afterglow of sunset as it starts to align with the sun. Mars has made a long 2-year appearance that started at dawn during the summer of 2015. By the beginning of 2017, Mars had reached the evening sky and was setting about 5 hours after the sun. Currently, Mars is setting only about an hour after sunset, and this planet will pass behind the sun during late July, only to emerge into the eastern dawn in mid-September. The moon starts the month against the stars of Leo the Lion, where it reaches first quarter at 8:42 a.m. on June 1st. That evening, we'll see the moon between the star Regulus, which represents the heart of the lion, and Denebola, the lion's tail. By the next evening, the moon will be on the western side of Virgo and will be in its waxing gibbous phase. Then on June 3rd, the moon will appear right next to Jupiter. Although Jupiter appears as a bright star to our eyes, a telescope shows it as a disk with up to 4 tiny lights around it. These are Jupiter's 4 largest moons: Io, the most volcanic place in the solar system; Europa, which possibly has an underground ocean; Ganymede, the largest moon of our solar system; and cratered Callisto. On June 4th, the gibbous moon, now over 80% lit, will appear near Spica, the brightest star of Virgo. The moon then travels through Libra, and on the evening of June 7th, enters Scorpius. Then the moon spends the next 2 days gliding through the non-zodiacal constellation Ophiuchus, where the moon reaches full on June 9th. The full moon of June will be the farthest full moon of the year, at over 245,000 miles away from Earth, or about 7% more than its average distance. The full moon this month is also next to Saturn. A telescope not only shows Saturn's rings, but it also shows a dot of light next to the planet. This is Titan, Saturn's largest moon and the second largest moon of the solar system. It is the only moon in the solar system with a true atmosphere. The spacecraft currently around Saturn is called Cassini, named after Giovanni Cassini, who in the 17th century discovered 4 of Saturn's moons and a large gap in Saturn's rings. NASA's Cassini mission arrived at Saturn in 2004 and launched a probe into the atmosphere of Titan. The probe found oceans on this moon. Not oceans of water, but at Titan's exceedingly frigid temperature of 300 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit, Titan has hydrocarbon seas of liquid ethane. By the morning of June 10th, the moon is still near Saturn, but now it's entered the constellation Sagittarius. That evening, the moon will be over the teapot shape of Sagittarius, and by the morning of June 11th, the moon's motion will have moved it slightly further east than where it was the previous evening. By the morning of June 12th, the waning gibbous moon, still within 10% of full, is to the upper left of the teapot's handle and in the constellation Capricornus. Over the next few days, the moon glides through Capricornus, then into Aquarius, where it reaches third quarter on the morning of June 17th. Then, before sunrise on June 20th, a thinning lunar crescent will be approaching Venus in the east. By the next morning, June 21st, the diminishing lunar crescent is to the lower left of Venus. Also on June 21st, the Earth reaches the summer solstice point in its orbit at 12:24 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, initiating summer in the northern hemisphere and winter in the southern. The next morning on the 22nd, a very thin crescent moon rises over the eastern horizon barely an hour before the sun. The moon reaches its new phase during the night of June 23rd. That puts us only 2 new moons away from the Great American Solar Eclipse, America's first total solar eclipse of the millennium. On the evening of June 26th, the crescent moon will be back in our evening sky. On the 27th, the moon will be back against the stars of Leo and positioned right next to Regulus, Leo's brightest star. The next night, the waxing lunar crescent will be on the eastern side of Leo. And finally, on the last day of June, the moon, now in its first quarter phase, appears near Jupiter for the second time this month. I'm Hudson Valley Community College astronomer Richard Monda, reminding you to keep your eyes on the sky.